let's talk about what will be happening over the next 7 days together. Our symposium is going to kick off this coming weekend on Sunday, September 12th, where we'll be having our tutorial on building concept sets. Excited that we have 130 participants who've signed up, and I want to thank all of the faculty who's will be joining me in providing support. Thank Lee Evans for creating our technical infrastructure to make this tutorial possible. During this day, we're going to be actually focused on walking through kind of a foundational element of how we build cohorts, which I think will be an enduring, valuable new tutorial that our community's offered that will hopefully make its way into the Eden Academy. On Monday, September 13th, we'll be holding our first OHDSI Reproducibility Challenge. It's going to be a workshop that Anna Ostropovitz and I will be leading in collaboration with Yasser Abogami. And we are going to be taking Yasser's paper that was published in Diabetes Care a couple months ago and asking the question, to what extent can we faithfully reproduce the exposure and outcome cohorts in that study? And so we've created a day-long exercise, and I want to thank the 55 collaborators who have signed up to be workshop collaborators to actually do this collaboration together, conduct the research that we will be ultimately producing a series of publications on, and also acknowledge that there's like 75 or so folks that are going to be joining as observers. And if there's others who'd like to listen in and watch as this happens on Monday, you're certainly welcome and encouraged to do so. I spent a little bit more time talking about Sunday and Monday on our last preview, so I just want to give that highlight. Tuesday, September 14th, this will be our first of our primary days of our symposium. George Ripsop will be leading a conversation about the state of the community. We'll be having a plenary session on OHDSI's impact of COVID-19. We'll be having our collaborator showcase, and then we're going to have lots of time for networking. And on Wednesday, September 15th, we will be having more time for our collaborator showcase, and then we'll be having a secondary plenary session on the journey to generate reliable evidence. And then we'll have ample time to, again, focus on networking. So I'm going to spend some time today going through more depth, particularly at our plenary sessions that we didn't highlight before, as well as to get you all jazzed up on other fun things that'll be happening over the next week or so. So I mentioned the tutorial. For those of you who signed up, you should have received an email from me over the weekend with some of the details, and including the attachment of the Abogami publication in Diabetes Care. If you think you signed up for the tutorial and did not receive an email from me, please send an email to symposium@ohdsi.org and Elise will get you squared away. If you cannot no longer attend, please let us know too, just because we're going to be creating small group breakouts for the tutorial. There is a Microsoft Teams team called OHDSI 2021 Symposium Tutorial Building Concept Sets. For those who are participating, you should probably get access to that probably like imminently. And I know that Elise and our BT Pros team are just working to do that load, so I would presume, Lise, I'm going to look at you here. Probably, like, if they don't get it by the end of today, they should probably be reaching out to you.
Yeah, it'll be done today.
Yeah. So hopefully you will all receive access, and you'll just see a new team will show up in the OHDSI tenant for this tutorial. We will also then, after that, receive a calendar invite with a link to the webinar that will be the place where the event will happen, as well as navigation to the breakout sessions that we will lead on Sunday. Monday, September 13th, the workshop, the OHDSI Reproducibility Challenge. If you signed up as a workshop collaborator, you should have received an email from me over the weekend, providing you details of what to expect. Similarly to the tutorial, we have a separate Microsoft Teams. You will receive access to that also today. So if you didn't get an email from me or don't have access to the Teams by the end of today, please reach out to symposium@ohdsi.org to dive in, to make sure that we get that you all squared away on that. I'm really excited to collaborate with everybody through those two activities. Where I want to actually focus today's conversation is to make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on during Tuesday, September 14th and Wednesday, September 15th. Tuesday, September 14th, our main day of the symposium. We will be starting the day at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and this will start with our State of the Community. George will be presenting on all things that are going on. For those of you who signed up to receive a surprise, that will hopefully you will receive that sometime over the next couple days if you haven't already. And you are to hold that surprise and not open it until George tells you when during the State of the Community. You'll also get to hear from work that's going on around our geographic regions. You'll get to hear from Kristen Koska telling you about our US data network, Peter Reinbeck talking about all things OHDSI Europe, and Mui Van Zant presenting about the great work that's going on in the Asia Pacific community. From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time, we will be diving into our plenary session on OHDSI's impact on the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm going to spend some time to highlight the presentations that you're going to hear so we can kind of reflect on all the work we've done and where we're going there. From 1 p.m. Eastern time to 5 p.m. Eastern time, we will be having our collaborator showcase. I want to thank the over 100 of you that have submitted to present posters, lightning talks, software demonstrations during the showcase. Most of you who are participating in the showcase should have already had a chance to meet with Elise and see how GatherTown works. GatherTown's our virtual world environment that we've created just for the purposes of the symposium. So for those of you who are presenters, you should have already gotten a sneak preview of what that's going to be like, and hopefully you're jazzed up about what that's going to be. Because we're going to be in this GatherTown environment, this is an environment we've created for the full 48 hours of Tuesday, September 14th through Wednesday, September 15th, which means for those who are interested in networking, meeting up, having fun together, that environment will be a great place for us to do that throughout the evening after the Collaborator Showcase formally ends. So I just want to take a minute to reflect on what an amazing job our OHDSI community has done to kind of answer the call to action as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic, and just highlight the work that you are going to see take place during this plenary session. And I think what's remarkable about it is the depth and breadth of the contributions that our community has made to think about COVID-19. We've structured it in a way that there are going to be two sessions. There's the methodologic considerations that our community has contributed to, and then there's the clinical impact. For the methodologic research, you're going to hear 5 presentations. You'll hear Anna Ostropolic talk about incidence rate method sensitivity and anchoring. You're going to hear Rupa Makadia talk about phenotype sensitivity. You're going to hear Martijn Schumi talk about the UMAIS experiment and provide some of the high-level results and the current thinking of that work group. You're going to hear Faiza Arshad talk about a specific finding that I think it warrants a specific focus, which is about applying methods sequentially and insights that we've gained from the UMAIS experiments on that. And then you're also going to hear from Jenna Reps talking about prediction sensitivity to data and design choices and the implication of how we can now start to bring patient-level prediction into large-scale modeling for COVID-19. And so I think that in these presentations, I think you're going to see a lot of the work we're doing, but I think it is not only a really great testament to the strong methodologic research we've done for COVID, but also points towards the work that we need to bring with the same sense of urgency to other areas. And hopefully this will give a lot of stimulated thoughts about other collaborations that we could work on together. We'll then have a series of presentations that are focused on the clinical impact of COVID-19 and showcase a lot of the great work that some of you are familiar with that has been completed over the last year since our last symposium. Chan will be presenting a kind of a review of much of the work that has happened since last year's study-a-thon, including highlighting the work of some of the COVID-19 estimation prediction studies that you have seen published in premier journals. Talita will be presenting about the Charybdis project. You may recall that this was something that we started and had a lot of works in progress last year, but now we've seen the kind of the fruits of the labor come through and a lot of tremendous work there. Albert will actually be presenting on specifically drug utilization trends in COVID, and I think here, the paper that our community has published in BMJ is a worthwhile time to reflect on what we've seen, but I think it also really provides a great perspective of what we can do as a community together, and how this type of question of what we needed to do looking back at patterns is probably the type of opportunity that we need to be tackling moving forward for the community, not just for COVID, but for other disease states. Jing Teng's going to be presenting on our collaborative work in estimating background rates of adverse events of special interest. Mark Suchard is going to be presenting on the findings from the SCILA project. And then George is going to round this out with some of the preliminary work that we've been doing in vaccine effectiveness and providing the community a call to action about the work of where we could go here. Danny Prieto is going to be moderating a panel that includes representatives from the FDA, the EMA, and industry making vaccines on COVID. So you'll hear from Rich Forshee, Catherine Kohei, and Joanne Waldstreicher, providing reflections not only on what OHDSI has done up to this point, but hopefully providing us some important insights about where we can go together as a community moving forward, both in terms of advancing the science of using observational data, but also identifying and prioritizing the important clinical questions that we can all work on together. So I'm really excited about this first session and getting everybody's to hear the work of our community, but also to engage with each other in a meaningful way to talk about what this means for future collaborations. On Wednesday, September 15th, the symposium will continue. Here, our collaborator showcase will be from 3 a.m. Eastern time to 7 a.m. Eastern time. This is really an intention to make sure that we are providing a great opportunity for all of our collaborators, including in the Asia Pacific region and in Europe, to be able to engage meaningfully in all of the content during the collaborator showcase. So thank you to those who are presenting the collaborator showcase who have volunteered to do things early in the morning and stay up late, or vice versa, to provide a meaningful opportunity for our entire global community to participate and engage in that collaborator showcase. It is the same content, so for those of you who are participating and want to know, like, where do I go get to see the cool stuff, it's going to be the same poster presentation, same lightning talk, same software demonstrations. But for those of you who just can't get enough, you've got 2 bites at the apple to go check things out, and also 2 chances to actually talk with each other in this virtual world, to get to network and talk about how you can collaborate together. Our second plenary session is going to be about the journey to generate reliable evidence. And I want to take a minute to talk about exactly what's going to happen during this session. In this session, we are going to focus on the paper that was published by Yasser Al-Boghami in Diabetes Care a couple months ago, that focuses on the clinical question about the effects of GLP-1 treatment on chronic lower respiratory disease. For those of you who are participating in the tutorial or the workshop, you would have received, with permission, a copy of that publication to be using in our activities together. For those of you who are attending the main symposium but haven't yet, I would strongly encourage you to read this paper ahead of time, because I think it's going to provide a very rich background and perspective and give us a foundation to learn about what the OHDSI community can do, not only for this clinical question, but more generally. What we will be doing specifically is Yasser will be joining us, and he will present the findings of his original paper. So for those of you who do take the chance to read the paper ahead of time, I think it'll be a great chance for you to hear the lead author present what he did and what he found, and provide a more rich color to what you will read in his publication. And you will also have the opportunity to use the chat function in our meeting to actually ask any questions you have to the author and learn more about the study. From there, Anna is going to actually present on lessons learned during the OHDSI Reproducibility Challenge. What do you think those lessons are? We have no idea, because the Reproducibility Challenge will have happened only 2 days earlier. We don't know what we're going to learn from our reproducibility challenge, and that's why we're taking the opportunity to do this as a community. But since only 50 of you are engaging in that collaboration, we thought it was actually important to present the finding to the broader, more than 1,300 people who actually have signed up to attend and participate in the symposium. So Anna will be presenting on something that we're going to learn this week that we haven't yet learned. From there, you're going to get to hear two important presentations about work our community has done. The first will be by Mitch Conover, who's going to present one aspect of the journey to reliable evidence, which is going to be about all things reproducibility and what it takes to actually take a paper and see whether or not an independent researcher, given the same data and the same analysis, can they actually get the same result. And so you're going to see the work that Mitch has led to walk through those considerations. We will then have a presentation by Christian Reich, taking another stab at an important element of the journey to reliable evidence, and that's one of generalizability. So if we were able to take the step of reproducing a study in the same data, we could start to ask the question, what happens if we apply the same analysis or try to answer the same question using different data, representing different data capture processes, different populations, different time periods? Do you actually get similar results there? And so Christian will walk you through our community's effort to gain additional insights from there. Kristen Koska is going to be leading a reaction panel where we're going to be having a conversation about what does this mean for the clinical implications of GLP-1s, but also what does this mean for our field as it relates to getting to the point where we're generating reliable evidence that we can meaningfully trust. And then from there, David Madigan is going to provide us a closing about what this actually means for the OHDSI community and what the journey ahead for all of us could look like as we try to advance our field to think about more reliable evidence. So we've got really exciting two sets of sessions that are lined up. Before I jump into some of the other things that are going on, let me just stop there and ask if there are any questions from the community about either of our main day symposium plenary sessions. All right, I'll take the awkward silence as everybody's truly excited and just can't wait to hear these talks, and that they're not just disengaged after hearing that horrible rendition of Happy Birthday for Craig. Okay, so I just want to walk through a few other logistical items to also whet your appetite about what's in store. For those of you who are presenting during the Collaborator Showcase, you already got a nice little sneak peek of our GatherTown environment. For everybody who's registered to the symposium, you will receive an email with a link to a URL with a password to get into the virtual environment that is GatherTown. Lisa's done a great job of writing very detailed instructions of how GatherTown works and how we are using it as a community. So you'll be able to see all of that information. You will receive a link sometime on Monday the 13th after the workshop, or sometime after the workshop, just to avoid confusion that we are using GatherTown for Tuesday, September 14th and Wednesday, September 15th. The main point of GatherTown is to allow us to have a good way to highlight work during the Collaborator Showcase. In this virtual world that you'll join, you're going to see that there are rooms for clinical applications, for data standards, for methodologic research, for open source development. And Elise and Paul and his team are going to be your Sherpas, providing you help to make sure you get to the right place to be able to check out all of the information that is available in here. What I want to reinforce, though, is that this is an open environment. It is here. It's been designed specifically to be a place for you all to network and collaborate with each other. So if you want to just go in this environment anytime during those 2 days, just to meet up with someone, go sit down and have a coffee or a beer or whatever you want to do, this is a place we've created explicitly for that, to try to stimulate networking as much as possible. The collaborator showcase hours, that is really just for us to try to maximize the number of people that go to the same place to interact with each other during the session. So we'll try to provide a script that you could follow to get to bump into people and force the interactions that we want to have. But you are welcome and encouraged to use this space as much as you want during those 2 days. The community, the plenary sessions, those meetings are going to be run through Microsoft Teams. So you have 2 options for how you can actually attend the sessions. The first is you can just join the meeting through Microsoft Teams, and it'll be just like this meeting that we're on right now. You can join, you'll be able to chat and react. We got a few tricks up our sleeves of fun things to make it highly interactive. And so you can totally 100% do that, and it'll work great. The other option that we've created is if you would like to sit with your friends and watch the plenary sessions in the GatherTown environment, we have created a seating lounge with TVs all set up. So you can plop down on a couch with your friends and watch the plenary sessions also. It is totally up to you how you want to do it. If what you'd like to do is be in an experience like what you're in right now in Microsoft Teams, you'll be able to do that, engage in the chat, engage in the reactions, engage in the interactive parts. If, however, what you'd like to do is find 2 buddies and sit down and be able to be the peanut gallery that chats while the plenary is going on, you're totally welcome to do that too. So this is, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to use this virtual environment as a way to get through our time apart until we can get back to hanging out together in person. Let me go before that. So before I do that, any logistical questions about GatherTown, about the technology, how the meeting's working, how you all can engage with each other?
Patrick, are we allowed to play hide and seek in there?
You will see, Christian, that the space is very large. So if you want to ignore somebody, you can hide to your delight. It is a very big space. However, for those of you who got to do the sneak preview with Elise, you'll learn that there's a feature in GatherTown where you can actually set yourself to follow somebody else. So while you can hide, you may be found pretty easily because someone can just trace themselves to you. So if anybody has a particular penchant for stalking, GatherTown is definitely the app for you. All right. Okay, if no other questions about that, I want to highlight a few other things. First, I want to congratulate many of you, including folks on the call, who have been nominated for Titan Awards. This is one of the things I'm most proud of every year, is that we have created a community award that is nominated by the community for the community and the contributions that have been made. We had a lot of different nominations come in this year for all of our categories of Titan Awards in data standards, methods, research, open source development, clinical application, community collaboration, community support, community leadership. You can see the nominees listed here on this slide. You might see your name. The thing you should be most proud of about this is somebody in the community took the time and effort to recognize your contributions, the contributions of these nominees. And I think that by itself is a tremendous testament to the contributions that these individuals and teams have made to our community, but also to the spirit of collaboration that we have as a community. So I personally think all of these people that are listed here, and it's too long to read off all of the names, deserve are winners already in their own right, and I'd like to take a second to recognize and congratulate all of them. So I'm going to say that you should all put on your cameras again and get off of mute and clap for each other for all of the contributions that everybody's made. And while I don't have the time to read all of those names, I hope that I stalled enough so that if you are eager to wonder, hey, did I get nominated? You could have seen your name on this list. You will see this list of nominees going out by Craig throughout the week to recognize folks across our social media channels. We'll be highlighting this again in the State of the Community presentation, but I just want to congratulate all of you who have been nominated. Thank all of you who did the nominations. I think it's a great way that we can recognize tremendous work that's happening in our community. All right, and you will find out who, while all of these people deserve to be winners and are winners in their own right, there can be only one Titan in each of these categories, and that will be announced during the closing ceremony that will be held Wednesday, September 15th. So tune in for that to see if there's further recognition to be had. All right. With that, you should have already, if you registered for the symposium, you should now see a team in your Microsoft Teams tenant that is called OHDSI 2021 Symposium. This is the team that has many channels. Because the plenaries are just going to be like a link to a meeting and the collaborator showcase is just going to be in GatherTown, it might be easy to miss out on the other cool bits and pieces that we've got floating around in here. So I just want to take a second to highlight it. Again, the whole reason we hold the symposium is to build community collaboration. So we want to take the opportunity to meet each other and introduce ourselves and talk about what we're looking for. And so one of the first channels you will see in the OHDSI 2021 Symposium is a channel called Introductions. It never hurts to take the time to just introduce yourself. And so I ask that you go into that Teams environment, go to the introductions, and just add a post onto the discussion thread to introduce yourself. You'll see that I've tried to guide this so that in addition to just tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing, I've given you a challenge to answer at least 3 of the following questions. What are you looking to get out of the symposium? What's your favorite highlight from past symposiums? What are you looking forward to next when we can actually be in person for future symposiums? If you could have one superpower, what would it be? If you could have a beer with one person, who would it be? If you could be any place, where would it be? And if you could be any time, when would it be? So go ahead and have some fun with giving some questions. It'd be great to learn a little bit more about each other, and we can use this thread as an opportunity to make connections and hopefully catch up and find each other in the GatherTown experience. You can do this now. You don't have to wait till Sunday when the symposium officially starts. Now that you all have access to the team, you can jump in here and start this activity. When you jump into the, Kristen, go ahead.
Patrick, do you want people to reply or you started a new thread? Which is the preference?
I hadn't thought that deeply about it, Kristen, honestly. I suppose if you start a new thread, then everybody sticks out as their own box, so that could actually work pretty well. All right, so introduce yourself. That's your task number 1. Task number 2, we've brought back the OHDSI 2021 Meme-a-thon. And so if you are a creative person and can think of a fun meme to add to our list as we go throughout the symposium, I encourage you to use this space to show off your creativity. If you just like looking at what other people's creative stuff can be, I encourage you to go in there and use the little emojis to upvote the memes of other people have created. This was a tremendous amount of fun last year. I was really excited to see all of the crazy things that you all came up with, so I thought it'd be fun to bring this back, and it would encourage you all to have a little bit of fun spirit. Again, you can get to this now. You can check out the lame ones that I've started us with. Thanks to Christoph for getting the ball rolling with some other entries. You'll have to go check it out yourself to see what's in there. All right, if that's not enough fun, Elise has also created a very, very fun game for us to play. We're going to play Name That Collaborator. Many of you took the challenge that she said, which was to send in 2 pictures. You sent in your current headshot and you sent in a baby picture. The task that we will have going on during the symposium is those baby pictures are randomly scattered throughout the GatherTown environment. You will see them all over the place, and you can go up and check out baby pictures. Your challenge, should you accept it, is fill out this bingo card. Or actually, you're going to receive a bingo card from Elise that is going to have this. Your task is look at the current picture of somebody in the community, match them up to the baby picture, and then plop a screenshot of that baby picture into the grid. Whoever figures out which babies belong to which current collaborators and fills in the grid correctly wins. That's probably going to be impossible given the baby pictures that I saw come in, but it should be fun as a good way to get to know each other a little bit better and should be kind of fun. So please have some fun with checking out the pictures, seeing whether or not you can come up with a match. If anybody wins this, I will be shocked, but it will be a good effort to see who thinks who is what. All you're going to do is you're going to basically you'll have your card that will be sent to you as a file. You're going to walk around the gather town, find baby pics. You might see a baby pic like this. You'll take a screenshot and post it in. I'm again giving you the answer to mine because I'm pretty sure I'm going to come off the card when you get the official one. But in case not, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to have a whole bunch of really cute faces on the left-hand side and then this monstrosity of a collaboration on the right-hand side. So please have fun with that. It's just another way, again, to get to know each other better and to have something fun to get you all really being interactive and engaged during the community, during the collaborator showcase and during this entire days together. All right. With that, I'm going to stop, ask if there are any questions about the best week of the year. All right. Stunned silence. I don't believe anybody's actually excited for the OHDSI Symposium. So I need just to warm my own heart. Please put on your camera again and get off of mute and tell me that you're excited for the OHDSI Symposium.
Yay!
All right. Great. Well, if there are no other questions, we're excited to see you all over the next several days this week. And if you have any questions, if you have any logistical issues, don't hesitate to reach out to Lise. You can just send an email to symposium@ohdsi.org. You can also, because if you've registered, you should now be in the team. You'll see that there's a technical support channel and that you'll be able to, that you can ask any questions. And we've got our team at BT Pros are going to be available to help us with any logistical issues you might run into. Kristen posted in the chat, are there virtual drink tickets? I strongly encourage you to check out the virtual bar that we have created in the experience. And I do expect that I very much will have a physical drink in my hand, although virtually on this camera, to celebrate with all of you during the network reception that we will be holding after the ends of both days.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Marie.
I have no doubt that someone's gonna really win this game. I want to know, can we put a poll out there to see who's the fastest and how long it takes them?
Ooh, okay. I like the challenge. So yes, first one to fill out this grid correctly will get a very special prize. And I know that I still owe those that had a very special prize from winning last year's bingo. Those pint glasses for OHDSI are still sitting at my bar in the room next door. So trust me, I'm aware that Sarah and Scott, I know I owe you guys things. Chan, I know you won. So I know that there's still more IOUs to be done, which I'm looking forward to being able to pay off when we can actually all be physically together, hopefully next year. All right.
Hey, Patrick, I have another question.
Please. Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I noticed you mentioned something about BT Pros. Could you tell me a bit more about that? Because I remember receiving an email where BT Pros was connected somehow to OHDSI, but I couldn't find any information. The email looked a bit malicious. but appears it's not in this case.
Yeah. I apologize. So we had a little technical snafu there. So just so for everybody knows, BT Pros is just a technical consulting company. They help us with managing our Odyssey Microsoft Teams environment. So they basically do system level admin for us. And we bring on there just to have a few extra hands on board to help Elise and me with logistics for the Teams environment. So if you do, for some reason, get an email from that you saw from BT Pros, don't be scared that there's something malicious or viruses or something that's real. I think that email in particular you can ignore because it was just them trying to make sure that you had connection to the Teams and to the Symposium team. So there's really they will not ask any of you for anything, but just so you know, there is a company called BT Pros. You may see a few people floating around either in Microsoft Teams or in GatherTown just providing help. And if they say, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah from BT Pros, that's just one of our tech support people.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification, Patrick.
Yep. All right. If nothing else, Craig, I'll hand it back to you.
Sure. Thank you very much for that presentation. So as I mentioned before, I mentioned it with the newsletter, but let's, for everybody who uses social media, I know some of you are on Twitter, some of you are on LinkedIn. It would be great if we could share as much as we can about the symposium on the lead up and then also during it. So this is the hashtag we will use, hashtag Odyssey 2021. Use it this week to share the main symposium page, which is on the front page of odyssey.org, but I will put that specifically into the chat right now. Share the page, share what's going on, let people know they can still register, and then during the event, use the hashtag. Let me share it as much as we can. Something from the plenary you like, something from the collaborator showcase, something from really anything, the tutorial, the workshop. We'd really love to get this, if we can get it trending, that'd be awesome. But if not, let's just get it out there as much as possible. Let me share it from the main account and really get the conversation going. Let people know kind of just how deep and how wide-ranging our community is and everything that's going on over those 4 days. So again, it's Odyssey 2021. I did mention this last time. GatherTown is not something you need to download. It's just a website. So you'll get the link there. It's an easy thing to get to, but you don't have to do preparation beforehand. I think that's it. As Patrick mentioned, if there's something that comes up beforehand, over the next week, just reach out to symposium@odyssey.org or whatever email Elise has been using. A reminder for everybody from the Collaborator Showcase, if you haven't gotten your poster or your talk in, please do so as soon as possible. We will be highlighting all the presentations afterwards through the social showcase. That's been very popular. We've gotten a lot. So if you've done your promo video, you still have time to, if you haven't done it, you still have time to send that in. We'll use it throughout. And any other questions, please let us know. I'll hold one more chance to ask any questions here. Okay, well, thank you for that wonderful birthday song. And we look forward to seeing you all next week at the symposium. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Happy
Happy
birthday, Craig.
birthday.
Thank you.
You can do it again if you want.
Thank you.
I'll pass. I have the recording, though, so I'll watch it many times today.